Hello, and welcome back again. So for this time, there's like a couple of movies I've watched because I haven't been able to go like physically to a movie theater. So we'll talk about what will we talk about? We'll talk about the Princess Diaries. Why? Well, there's like a bunch, but I picked that because The Devil Wears Prada comes out next month, really in a couple weeks. Um, it's a sequel 20 years later that who asked for this? Really? It's been like 20 years. Who asked for this? Yeah, actually, The Devil Wears Prada is actually the movie in question today because yeah, the first one is like I would say it's timeless. Um But, realistically speaking, I'm just trying to figure out why we're getting a sequel. I know y'all are running out of ideas. I I know y'all don't like really much anything original. Um but why are we getting a sequel to a movie that came out 20 years ago? Hopefully she's dumped the friends, doesn't have that boyfriend anymore. Because how does your significant other get a new job that's gonna like help them as an individual? And you're like, ew, really? Like jealous. So, um, Anne Hathaway is Andy in this movie. Um, she just graduated college, pretty sure, and she can't get a job at any journalist newspaper place. So she applies for Miranda's assistant internship thing. No, it's an assistant. She applies for that. She has absolutely no fashion sense. Um, Although I'm sure this is a phrase somewhere, someone has said it or something, but fashion is ever changing. Um, what you wear is your style. So a character slash person like Miranda, who apparently is based off of Anna Wintour, um, will look at your style and go, that's definitely not for right now. Um, but yeah, she's a young individual, early 20s, mid 20s, and she has a group of friends who essentially are jealous of her new job and a boyfriend that isn't 100% supportive of her new job that would help her in more ways than one. Um, which is crazy because it's not like she's selling drugs, but Miranda puts her through the ringer, um, telling her to go get un printed books of the Harry Potter series. This is how you know this movie is that old because Harry Potter didn't end until 2012, I think. Um, so that's how old this movie is. And she has her ripping and running around town to go and get these copies. And Miranda is like, the person that she has a hard shell, but she's really only certain people get to see the soft side of her. And it certainly isn't going to be her assistant who she needs to get the copies. And Miranda's going through another divorce. I think it's stated it's like her third divorce. Um, yeah, it's tough. It's a really rough thing to go through. But she's seen as like a fiery person. She doesn't like something, she's gonna give you a look. Like, is that the best you could do? Really? All right, okay, out of my sight. And Stanley Tucci is in it, and he helps Andy throughout the movie, um, and is supportive in a way that's like a uncle or something being supportive. Um, and she begins to grow after some time, but um, Emily Blunt is in it too, and she is like, I guess you could say she's maybe kind of emo, but I'm not really too sure what you would describe it as. A fashionista, if you will. Dark eyeliner, very fitting of the times. Um, but now by the time the sequel has come out, everybody has had so much work done, nobody's forehead is moving. So yeah, that should be fun. And that Netflix lighting, it's gross. Please stop. So yeah, um, she, Andy and Miranda begin to bond over like several things. In like slow ways, but it's not like too obvious. But she has her ripping and running around town, doing assistant things, getting coffee, getting Harry Potter copies. Um, it's like, you're working at a fashion place. Have a plain top, jeans, a black skirt, or something. A couple staple items, gold earrings, stud or hoops. It's just, who you're working for. So even if you are unaware of the fashion world, you should at least do a little bit of research on who you're working for. And then once you get into the groove and you realize who you're working for, you're like, yeah, I can step up to the plate. And Andy eventually does that. She eventually steps up to the plate, and she ends up really liking her position. But then, in a cruel twist of I wouldn't do that, Andy decides, after Miranda gives her a choice, she decides, I'm not going to do this fashion thing anymore. I'm just going to go do the journalism thing, which I get it was her actual true love. But she had grown and become better doing the fashion assistant like role. And yeah, that's the end of the movie. Miranda also like appreciates her by that time, comes around. However, the only thing that was like uh, in my opinion, is the lack of support from her boyfriend and the lack of support from her friends. I thought personally that they were all garbage. Because I wouldn't have a friend that got a new job that was gonna help them in more ways than one and be like, ew. Instead of outwardly saying I'm jealous, being like, ew, did you really get this job? And then making jokes at what she brings, like she gets free gifts, free clothes. Now, free clothes would be welcome. But her jealous friends were like, I'm jealous for absolutely no reason. I can actually tell you, I don't have a legit reason as to why. I'm just jealous. But I don't think the sequel, honestly, like legitimately, if you like really look at it, is gonna hold a candle to the first one. Mostly because it came out 20 years ago. It's a little bit too long. It's not even a remake. It's a sequel. Now we're doing 20-year sequels. I feel like maybe, just maybe, if you're gonna do a sequel, it should be like a 5-year, like maximum period. Like Batman, the first one came out in 2022. The second one isn't coming out until next year. That's 5 years. But why are we taking so long to make sequels? 20 years is ridiculous. I could have had 2 kids by now. Why are we waiting so long to make sequels? Honestly, like imagine if Stanley Tucci had died before the sequel had came out. Then they would have been trying to replace him with somebody else. Like, no, the movie is too iconic for you to replace him with somebody else. Also, 20 years is ridiculous. But all the studio heads see is dollar signs and not, it's been 20 years. Why did we wait so long? we can't come up with anything original. Actually, you can come up with something original, but y'all will probably shoot down anybody with a actual legitimate original idea. Apart from weapons and centers, what else is original out there? Not everyone clamor up at once. The sequel to Devil Wears Prada 2 didn't need to happen. Mm-mm. Y'all can come up with better stuff. Way better stuff. Especially if you're going to do that bright neon LED headlight Netflix lighting. Y'all can do better. There's no reason for lack of originality and Netflix lighting. Do y'all not realize how warm movies used to look? They used to look warm, inviting, different lightings, blah, blah, blah. Twilight, for example. First one, blue. Second one, warm. Harry Potter, the same, actually, technically. First one, warm. Second one, warm-ish. Third one, dark. Like, they used to have, like, different color themes. Now we're just getting Netflix lighting and not really that much originality. It's kind of scary because there's plenty of people out there with fresh new ideas, but for some apparent reason, like the studio heads kind of like sneer at that. Um, Especially if you aren't already know. But I'm sure Devil Wears Prada will be fine. Um, I'm not really banking on it too hard, but it'll probably be fine, honestly. Um, like fine. Like if I was just like, oh, movie, ooh, tomato, tomato, then yeah, sure, it'd be like whatever. However, however, I'm not really holding out too much hope again because it did come out 20 years ago. It literally just, it's been so long. Why do they keep doing that? Also, another thing, last tidbit. Why is it that when a show comes out, um, it may be another 10 years before you get a second season? Apart from How to Get Away with Murder, Abbott Elementary, but the other shows. Why is it so long before we get fresh new material? I know y'all need a break. Everyone does. Why is it so long? Speaking of remakes, Scrubs. I would have rather had House. Scrubs is fine. I liked Scrubs. But does everything need a remake? Does everything need a second chance for a new generation? Like Harry Potter? Harry Potter is the exception. I kinda see it. You know, there is another generation. However, due to my old decrepit mind, for the moment, it cannot hold a candle to the original. But not everything needs a remake. Not everything deserves a second chance for the new generation. They can just watch the old stuff. Like other people used to do. But I get it. I'm just hoping that Devil Wears Prada 2 is just as good. If not, probably won't be better than the original. I'm not really holding out that much hope. But we shall see. Anyways, until next time.